Hello and welcome back to Kev's Vintage Tractor Repair channel. In the previous episode we talked about timing the Ferguson 23C engine, and in this episode what we're going to be doing is removing the injection pump, flywheel and sump. So I hope you enjoy. Hello and welcome back to Kev's Vintage Tractor Repair channel. We're still on the FE35 23C engine. The last video we did, it did go on a little bit because we were talking about time and marks and things like that. But what I did forget to tell you is, and it's sort of quite important, is up the top where the cylinders are, is where obviously where your liners are. And these engines sometimes, when you're turning them over, the liner will come up, and what could happen, a piston ring could drop, and obviously then you won't be able to turn the engine. All right, it'll just get stuck or you'll break the piston ring. When we're turning the engine over, we want to keep the liners in place, because what could happen, taking the piston down to the bottom and these liners could come up, piston ring at the bottom could come out, and obviously then you're going to have to take the whole bottom out and get the piston ring back in place, or you're going to break it. So all I normally do is just put some bolts on. I normally put some over this side, but for now I've just put them there just to hold those liners in place. I know I'm going to replace them, but just imagine you're working on your own tractor, all right, and you're not doing that bit of it. What we're going to look at is our injection pump. Some of these pipes I've left on because they're still really loose and I just cannot undo them at the minute. Once I get it in the bench, it'll be easier. So here's our injection pump. There's a lot of paint on here, so I don't know if I can just rub that off a bit, depending on how thick it is. There is a faint scribe line on there. You won't see it, but on yours, okay, you will. A point for when we take the pump off, you can put it back in a place. What we're going to do, we need a 1/2 inch. We'll get that, whatever on there. You'd undo these, all right, if we want to advance or retard the pump. We're going to say a bit more fill or less fill. So we'll just loosen these off. Another one at the back. All right, it is a little bit more awkward when you've got everything else in the way. What we can do is we can move our pump, all right, which more fill, less fill. All right, I can't really remember which way we need to do it, but that's how you can adjust the pump slightly. Okay, you either go, there's your line, you're going below it, or you can go above it, or spot on. Okay, now if you have a problem with your pump, be it on this engine, the 23C, or you've got a 3-cylinder, don't worry about taking it off. Now, these pumps are quite easy to come off. All right, take the 3 bolts out, obviously all your pipe work, and it will just slide out. If we had a 3-cylinder Perkins engine, you'd still have a very similar pump, 3 bolts there, but you have to take a little plate off the front of the engine from the timing cover. Undo the 3 bolts on there. The sprocket will drop. It's not going to move, so don't worry about it. And you can then put it back because it will have a master spline. So what we'll do, we'll get this off. I normally, when these come in for repairs and stuff, I'll happily change the gaskets and wash O-rings in here if they're leaking. Generally, with these pumps, I'll send them away to have them refurbished. I haven't got the facilities to test it, and we might as well, if we're going for a full engine rebuild, have the pump done properly. That's one out. So we can get this one out. What somebody's done there, they've welded the nut on the end of the stud. All right, that's why the whole thing came out. So that's why that one did. And let's see this one. I think this is going to do the same. Yeah. And if I get my ratchet on that, I think somebody's done exactly the same with this nut and stud again. Okay, so we're nearly there. Pump is now loose. So obviously there's going to be oil, of course there is. All right, now obviously imagine all this pipe work gone, okay? And all we do is give it a wiggle and out it comes. This is the other side of the pump, all right? So all old respray, or when they resprayed it, when they sandblasted it, all right, they have had a problem with the pump leaking, and they've put this old silicone all around it again, which, like I said before, it's got its place, but it's going to end up blocking oil ways in your engine. So just use it if you need to, but I don't even know what that is. There's our injection pump, okay? So I'll just lay that to one side. Now, this is the bit we don't want to lose, all right? So I'll take it out. And we've got a little drive shaft. I'll just give it a wipe of oil, get the oil off. We can't get this wrong if we take it out, okay? Take our pump out. All right, we don't want to lose it, but what I'm trying to say is we can't put the pump in wrong. It can't go in completely the wrong place. So obviously we've got these master splines on there. So if I just get the pump again, here's our, well, we can turn around and it's not going to go in until it finds the place it needs to. And I need to see what I'm doing. There, okay. So, and there it goes. Obviously, then that end will go into the drive, into here, which is all part of the camshaft timing, all right? But I'm not gonna remove that now. We're gonna do a little bit more and mark that so we get it dead bang in the right place when we take it out, all right? But don't lose that. What we've got here, okay, is our oil filter housing. Usual mud and muck everywhere, okay? I'm just gonna take the end off. I can't remember, 11/16. I don't think that's been off for a long while. So I'm just going to take it off. Try our best. And out it comes. All right, so it's going to be a little bit of oil. All right, it's going to be some oil in there. All right, and then in our oil ways galleries in there. Okay, so here it comes. Off it comes. I'll just pour that in there. Right. So we ain't going to worry too much what's in there. Here is our oil filter, which, looking at the state of that, I don't think that's been changed for a long time. So let's twist it, and it comes off. Now, that is bad. There's a little, yeah, so that hasn't been changed for a long time. So let's put that in there. I'll just move this out of the way. Here is even more of the old oil filter. So we definitely know this hasn't been changed for a long time. So we'll take this off. A couple of 9/16 again. This little bit on the top here, okay, that's your oil pressure regulator. You can sort of adjust and mess around a little bit with the oil pressure, all right? But what we'll do, I'm not going to take it right out, but I will let you have a look inside. And what that does, there's a big spring in there, okay, and a ball bearing on the end, all right? That's how we want to build our oil pressure up. And we need it all to get up to our top part of the engine. So, there we go. That's that. And there we go. That hasn't been off for a long time as well. When this is all cleaned up, all right, I will take it completely apart so you can see it. There's our pressure regulator with the spring, which goes into there, and then just under, can't quite get it, but in there's obviously a ball bearing, okay? So once the oil pump gets going, it regulates its pressure, all right? So that's that piece. So that's pretty much all I'm going to take off that side. So what I'm going to do now, move around to the back, and we're going to remove the flywheel. Just be careful with this old dust because it's got a really old clutch in it. All right, and don't spread it around. All right, because it could have asbestos and that in it. So we need to be a little bit careful. So I bent back the little lock tabs. 11/16, got my 1/2 inch ratchet, or impact gun. So 1, 2. Be careful, these are heavy, all right. So what we want to do, all right, we need to make sure everything goes back where it came from, all right. I talked last week, or on the last episode, about marking your flywheel to the block to there. We've got our marks here as well. We've got a locator on the end of the crankshaft as well, all right. So, but we'll see that better once I get this flywheel off. Sometimes they'll come off really easy, other times they don't. So, there we go. So, what have we got on here then? What we've got, all right, there's our locator, which was there. At least we know that can go into the correct place again. This hole here is our 16-degree hole for when we're timing our pump. That's where that comes through there, all right? So that's pretty much it. Bit here is our sump, all right? And we've got a leaky rear crank seal. We've got all the oil coming through here, all right? I'm not going to take this bit off at the moment, all right? I'm just showing you, and in my time of doing this job, I've seen them just, I don't know how they even got them in. They knocked them in with a brick, all right? I've seen them put in back to front, all right? And people still sort of wonder why they leak. When I start taking the crankshaft out, I'll take all this off in one, because this, what we also want to do is mark it across here as well, all right? Because these holes here, they're slightly staggered. So we just need to sort of just get it into the right place. Otherwise you're going to put your gasket on the back plate where the crankshaft bearings and that are. So you want to get that into the right place, and you don't want to be sort of poking things and trying to get it into the right place. Just same thing, well, I might as well do it now I've got it. Just give it a wipe. So we'll put a dot on there and a dot on there. All right, and yeah, might as well just put another one on there. So when we now put this is all clean, our new sealer's in, our shells are in for our crank, we know, we put it on, and then all the gaskets will line up. There won't be no trying to sort of feed these through and tune the gaskets up. We can get it all into the right place, all at the right time. If we go back to one of my earlier episodes, all right, I drained the oil out, and obviously we took the oil strainer basket out. And if you remember, I put my hand in and I pulled out a piece of the piston liner. I'm sure some of you might be been waiting for me to take the sump off, so we can actually have a look and see what we have got in there. I'm not going to turn it upside down to take the sump off, because I don't want all that gunge and, I might as well just say it, crap, all going all up into the bottom. I've still got to clean it out, and it's been sitting like this for a while, so everything sort of dripped down there. So what I'm going to do, all right, I'm going to put my plate back on here so I can lift it up in the air. I'm going to have a bit of a clear up and get some of these tools out of the way. And what we're going to do is undo all these sump bolts, okay, all these 1/2 inch ones, or 1/2 inch head spanner. All right, what I'm going to do now, rather than turn it upside down, like I said earlier, and have all the rubbish that's in here sort of fall into the bottoms of the pistons. So what I'm going to do now is just undo it off here, and then we'll put it in the wash tank and see what we can find in there. And so let's, I'm doing some of these. when we had the TEA, TEFs, the sumps were all aluminium. When they did the later engine, this 23C, we've now got a cast iron one. So if you're doing this on the floor in your garage, get a jack underneath of it so you can at least take a lot of the weight, because all I'll do in a minute is just lower this down, get a screwdriver into it, and then that'll drop. And what I like about working on these earlier Masseys and Fergies, you haven't got to take the weight frame out to take the sump out. You just loosen the bolts in there and on the back, and you can just take it out without even taking the front axle off. But when we're working on the 3 cylinders, you've got to take all the front axle off, or you can adjust it with some longer bolts, but it's just a pain. My hammer, I think they're all out. Let's have a see what we find. Out it comes. So let's and what we'll do is we'll just readjust ourselves so we can get and have a look in the sump. So got the sump in the wash tank. That was our rags. I had to try and stop a lot of it coming out. So I don't think this honestly has had an oil change for a very long time. So it's just, I think there is a little bit of grey in it as well, so I think it's just a mixture of everything, even a leaf. Alright, so I'll chuck all the good stuff in there, give it a wash. So we'll just see what else. See if we can find any more bits of metal in here. Which I don't think there are. I think it's just sludge. Oh, there we go, got something else there. Pop that in there. Put this in here. A bit of tip. Yeah, there's lots of little bits and pieces in here. Yeah, there's lots that's really grainy in here, so I would say that's pretty much it. Now let's get this off my hands. And let's just see what we found in here. Our original piece. Definite leaf. And some more bits of the piston liner. Oh, I had something else in here. Yeah, they've heard it in there. There it is. So, a few more bits of our piston liner. Switch it off. So, obviously that piece and some more. Obviously there must be more bits tucked up in the little corners in there. But we'll find out a bit more about that when we actually pull it out. But looking at that, that's got like a ridge on there. Well, that's been hit or something, and we've got some good scores in there. Next time we'll pull a few more bits, time and chain and crankshaft and bits and pieces out. We'll see where we go from there. So I hope you enjoyed this little episode and seeing what surprises we found, and hope to see you next time.